The Earth is without a doubt an exciting and vast place to explore, and travel is not only incredibly exciting, but should also be inspiring in some life-changing ways. The world is full of both some truly amazing places, but also, unfortunately, some not-so-amazing places. As a gay guy who has been to 59 countries as of the making of this video, some of which were more pleasant experiences than others, this video will highlight some of the locations in the world that provide the most safe, accepting, and exciting experiences for queer travelers, and the opportunity to support with our tourism the countries that support us most and champion our community's rights around the planet. The methodology is as follows. In order to make it on to this prestigious list, countries require some truly iconic scores in two categories. The first is in LGBTQ rights as outlined by the Equaldex Index, which I have found to be a beyond excellent resource for exploring detailed metrics on queer rights across the world. The other score is that of general safety, which I will be using the Global Peace Index to determine, a ranking created by the Institute for Economics and Peace, which is a highly respected global think tank headquartered in Sydney, Australia, and which frequently collaborates with the United Nations to produce world-class and accessible datasets on issues of importance for global peace and safety. The score each country receives from the most recent edition of the Equaldex LGBTQ Rights Tracker will be combined with the score that the country also receives from the most recent 2023 Global Peace Index. And then both numbers are averaged out in order to create a final score that reflects both queer rights and general safety, so that picking a country from this list gets as close as reasonably possible to being a guarantee for having a safe, fun, and accessible trip for us queer travelers in the year ahead. Our journey begins with the largest country in the European Union. Germany is located in the very heart of Europe, both geographically and politically. It is the economic foundation of the EU and also one of the region's greatest supporters of our rights, coming in at the impressive rank of 10th on our 2024 QK Travel Index. According to Equaldex's most recent statistics, Germany receives a score of 79 out of 100 for LGBTQ rights. This includes metrics on both legislation and public opinion in the country. Gay marriage has only been legal in Germany since 2017, which made it the 26th country in the world to do so. Not terrible, not great. Thankfully, legal gender change is legal and accessible, and there are considerable anti-discrimination protections that combine to make Germany an accepting and supporting country for queer people to explore. On the Global Peace Index, Germany receives a score of 86, which reflects the fact that Germany, while not perfect, remains one of the world's top 15 safest countries on the list, an impressive feat to say the least. Combining the general safety with high scores in queer rights gives Germany an average score of 82.5, which secures it the 10th spot on our list for 2024. This country is more than its delicious sausages, pretzels, and beer. It is home to over 1,000 fairy tale-like castles, to the majestic German Alps near its border with Switzerland, and is home to some of the world's most historic and exciting cities like Berlin, Hamburg, Munich, and Frankfurt, all brimming with queer history and expression. It is safe to say that Germany should be on every queer person's travel list this year. Now we move to the frozen north so that we can go to the beach. No, I'm serious. Norway is home to some shockingly incredible beaches in the summer, and also happens to hold the 9th spot on the 2024 QK Travel Index. Norway is great at a lot of things, and extending equal rights to all of its citizens is one of them. The Nordic country secures a score of 88 for queer rights, which, it may be interesting to point out, is 9 points higher than Germany on this metric. Ever since 2009, Norway has safeguarded marriage equality, and is proudly the 6th country in the world to do so. Transgender people also have easy access to gender-affirming care, along with extensive anti-discrimination legislation on the books. On the subject of general safety and peace, Norway comes in a bit lower, but still maintains a highly respectable score nevertheless, as the 24th most peaceful country on Earth with 77 points. Combining the above scores, we conclude that Norway, along with Germany, receives an 82.5, which clearly results in a tie. The primary reason why Norway is placing one spot above Germany in this list is because of its superior English proficiency and acceptance of foreign tourists. As someone who has spent extensive time in both Germany and Norway, placing Norway ever so slightly above Germany on our list feels appropriate, despite them both being incredibly accepting and safe countries. But tell me your opinion in the comments since we have a tie. Norway is home to some of the most pristine and gorgeous nature that this planet has to offer. Oslo, Tromsø, Bergen, and other leading Norwegian cities are testaments to modern design, high quality of life, progressive ideals, and incredible opportunity. Well-prepared Norwegian food like reindeer and wild fish are surprisingly exquisite across the country, and Norway is the place to be in order to experience the northern lights in the wintertime, to swim in crystal clear fjords in the summer, and to do it all while being 100% yourself without any fear. Heading back south, but staying in the same general neighborhood, we come to a country known for resting mostly below sea level. Famous for its tulips, wooden shoes, and being incredibly queer, the Netherlands secures the 8th spot on this year's QK Travel Index. The land of the Dutch scores an incredible 82 points for LGBTQ rights, which should come as no surprise for those who are familiar with the Netherlands' long history as one of the most free and tolerant places on Earth. In fact, the Netherlands has the truly singular honor of being the first country on Earth to introduce marriage equality way back in 2001. Additionally, the Netherlands also allows for legal gender change and boasts a wide array of anti-discrimination legislation. In terms of general safety and peace, the Netherlands scores an equally impressive 85, putting it in 16th place globally, which is no small feat. Averaging out the two scores gives us a final rating of 83 points, just barely beating out Germany and Norway. Amsterdam in particular is world-renowned as an exciting and vibrant city for letting loose and trying new things. But over-tourism and the abuse of the relaxed local attitudes on a variety of issues means that less visited Dutch cities may now be more pleasurable for your queer-friendly vacation. I can personally say that Utrecht is an excellent option with a lovely old town, beautiful surrounding nature and a castle to explore, and a central location for seeing the Dutch countryside away from the crowds in Amsterdam. Regardless of where you stay in the Netherlands, as an LGBTQ tourist, you are sure to feel welcome and safe in this incredible country. A pattern seems to be emerging as we are staying in the region for our next country. Finland has made headlines over recent years as the happiest country on Earth, which is not difficult to see why, considering its impressive metrics across the board on a wide range of issues, from healthcare to free higher education. Finland easily lands the number 7 spot on the QK Travel Index for 2024. When it comes to LGBTQ rights, Finland boasts a solid score of 80, which, while not perfect, still makes Finland one of the most accepting and queer-friendly countries on Earth. Marriage equality in the country was only introduced in 2017, which made it the 24th country to do so. Thankfully, transgender people also have the right to change their gender in the country with no restrictions since 2023, and queer people are protected under the law from discrimination extensively. In terms of general safety and peace, Finland really shines, coming in 13th globally, giving Finland a score of 88 in the area. Averaging out both scores results in a combined score of 84 for Finland, beating the Netherlands in 8th place by a single point. Lapland, located in northern Finland, is a genuine winter wonderland, with a literal Santa Claus village that I have personally visited, not to mention some of the most breathtaking nature on Earth. Cities like Helsinki and Tampere are world leaders in quality of life and happiness for their people, and Finland is a country that stands firm for our community's rights, even in the face of Russian threats that have only emboldened Finland to join NATO and to defend its Western liberal values more firmly than ever in recent years. It is no wonder that it takes the spot as the 7th best country in 2024 for queer travelers. What could be gayer than a log cabin in the Alps? Well, a lot of things, I guess, but that does not really change the fact that the ever-idyllic country of Austria has a solid showing when it comes to LGBTQ rights and general safety alike, putting them in the number 6 spot on our 2024 QK Travel Index. Austria receives a score of 77 for LGBTQ rights, which does place it behind Germany by 2 points with one of the lower scores on our list today for the category. Yet, being the 18th best country on Earth to be queer is not a bad showing. Austria only introduced marriage equality in 2019, making it the 28th country to do so. Not terrible, not great. Legal gender change is possible in Austria, but requires an official medical diagnosis, highlighting the fact that Austria still needs a good deal of progress on the issue of trans rights. Thankfully, Austria does have anti-discrimination laws on the books that safeguard queer citizens and visitors alike. Where Austria really shines is in the area of general safety and peace, receiving a stunning score of 96, making it the 5th safest country in the world. When we average out the two scores, we end up with 86 points and placing Austria as the 6th highest country for queer travel in 2024. Vienna, Austria's capital, is an incredible city to visit and happens to be frequently named the best city in the world to live for quality of life. If you venture out of Vienna and head west, you will eventually come to the Austrian Alps, which no words or pictures can truly describe their beauty. Skiing, hiking, and enjoying the pristine countryside, dotted with picturesque villages, are all on the agenda for Western Austria. The high culture, delicious gastronomy, and rich history of cities like Vienna and Salzburg combine to make Austrian cities some of the best for LGBTQ travelers to explore. Austria has definitely earned its spot as the 6th best country for queer travel this year, and will likely be on the list for years to come. Now be honest, were you starting to think that we were never going to leave Europe? Well, the 2nd largest country on Earth by land area also happens to be one of the top 5 best countries in the world for LGBTQ travel in 2024. The too often underappreciated country of Canada secures the 5th spot on our QK travel list for this year, and for some excellent reasons. With 83 points for queer rights, the statistics truly do back up Canada's reputation as a progressive haven and champion of human rights. All the way back in 2005, Canada became the 4th country to legalize marriage equality, a fact that all Canadians should be immensely proud of. Since 2017, transgender Canadians have been able to legally change their gender without any restrictions or medical interventions, making it one of the best countries on Earth to be trans in 2024. This is coupled with extensive and thorough anti-discrimination laws. One thing Canada does even better than LGBTQ rights is actually its high rates of general peace and safety, scoring 90 points in the category, making it the 11th safest country on Earth. Taking the average of the two scores gives us 86 points and lands Canada where it belongs, in the 5th spot on our list, despite its tie with Austria, also at 86 points. Canada, being an English-speaking country and generally more accepting to people from diverse backgrounds from across the world, were the reasons why the tie was broken in the favor of Canada. Many cities across Canada, like Calgary in the province of Alberta, boast extremely high qualities of life, diverse cuisines, and incredible modern architecture. Not to mention the almost fantasy-like landscapes of the Canadian West. Toronto is home to one of the world's most visible and open queer communities, and the Atlantic provinces offer a laid-back and peaceful opportunity to enjoy fresh seafood, a slower pace of life, and strikingly beautiful natural beauty. For more adventurous travelers, consider Yukon or the Northwest Territories if you want to experience some of the most remote and untouched land on the entire Earth, all with the peace of mind that you are in a country that respects your right to exist safely as you are. Staying in the Anglosphere, but moving just about as far away as you can possibly get from our previous country, is the always beautiful New Zealand. In many ways, this small but influential country is a synonym for a peaceful and prosperous life. And while New Zealand is in 4th place on our list today for safest queer destinations, it is in 1st place for hobbits every year, which is what really matters most at the end of the day. But while hobbits are incredible, New Zealand's 77 points for LGBTQ rights are too, and validate the country's positive reputation as a world-leading country in areas of personal freedom and social progress. In 2013, New Zealand became the 15th country in the world to legalize marriage equality, which is still stellar on a global level. Since 2023, transgender people have been able to legally change their gender without restriction, and queer individuals possess some legal protections from discrimination, yet more progress is needed in the area, as transgender people have only ambiguous protection under the current law. Coming in with a world-leading 97 points for safety and peace, New Zealand sits in the 4th spot globally, which makes it literally one of the best places in the world for anyone seeking peaceful and low-stress travel. Combining the two scores, we come to a final score of 87 points, which lands it in 4th place on our list for 2024. It goes without saying that New Zealand is a must-see for LGBTQ Lord of the Rings fans, as it is where the beloved movies were filmed. But beyond this, cities like Wellington and Auckland offer diverse dining options, beautiful cityscapes, and a safe place to relax and be yourself without worry. The nature in New Zealand is unparalleled, whether you are drawn to its warm and pristine beaches, its chilly and almost mystical fjords in the South Island, its world-famous mountainscapes, or all of the above. After a short detour, we are once again back in Europe, and is anyone really surprised? Now, when I say Ireland, what comes to mind? The color green, perhaps? Maybe red hair and green eyes? Well, consider adding extremely pro-LGBTQ to your mental list, as Ireland is the 3rd best country in 2024 for safe queer travel, and it is not difficult to understand why. Ireland receives 76 points for queer rights, which, while incredibly high by global standards, definitely leaves room for improvement in the future. Marriage equality has been legal in Ireland since 2015, and made Ireland the 21st country in the world to do so. Once again, not terrible, not great, but better late than never. Transgender people over the age of 18 have also been allowed to legally change their gender since 2015 with no restrictions, and additionally, Ireland has some of the most extensive and solid legislation in the world protecting queer people from discrimination. Without a doubt, Ireland has a respectable showing when it comes to LGBTQ rights, but where it really shines is when it comes to general safety and peace, with a world-leading score of 98, making it the 3rd safest country on Earth. Averaging out both scores gives Ireland an overall score of 87, a tie with New Zealand. It was difficult to decide whether to put Ireland or New Zealand ahead of one another, as both have the same score, are native English-speaking countries, and score similarly on nearly every metric. When deciding which one to put higher, I decided to pick Ireland simply because it is a part of the European Union, thus being subject to higher amounts of inter-union pressure to maintain its impressive levels of queer rights and general safety. Of course, this pressure does not always work, as in the case of Hungary's continued persecution of queer people, yet the response from the EU does discourage such behavior and make it a costly choice nevertheless. Thankfully, with scores that tie for queer excellence, both Ireland and New Zealand are perfect choices for safe LGBTQ travel in 2024. Ireland is absolutely packed with things to do and see, which, considering how much Irish ancestry many of you watching from North America today may have, can also be a great opportunity to connect with some of your roots. Dublin is full of history and culture, and is never short on a good place to grab a beer. Venturing out of the city into the countryside won't disappoint those who enjoy rolling green hills and friendly people. The western coast of Ireland is home to its most dramatic landscapes that will make you feel like you're living in the Game of Thrones or Narnia. And tying all of these great things together is the fact that when visiting Ireland, you can rest assured that you are welcome and safe to be yourself. As we approach the end of our list, only the 2 most prestigious spots remain, and coming in at number 2, as the 2nd best and safest destination for queer travel in 2024, is none other than the ancient original home of the Vikings and Norse mythology. Denmark comfortably secures this rank, as it comes in a whopping 6 points higher than Canada and New Zealand. With 87 points for LGBTQ rights, it is impossible not to recognize Denmark as one of the most queer-friendly countries on Earth. In 2012, Denmark introduced marriage equality, a move that made it the 11th country in the world to do so. Since 2014, transgender people have had access to unrestricted legal gender change based on self-identification alone, and the anti-discrimination laws in the country are extremely robust. In terms of global peace and safety, Denmark has an awe-inspiring score of 99 and the rank of second safest country on Earth. Good job, Denmark. Be proud of yourself. Averaging out the two scores gives us a combined score of 93 points, without a doubt a hard number for any country to beat. The Danish capital of Copenhagen lives up to the hype and is probably more affordable than you have been led to believe, in part because inflation has been much higher in many other parts of the world in recent years than it has been in Scandinavia. Copenhagen is a gay mecca and is one of the best places on Earth for queer visibility, along with boasting one of the highest qualities of life in the world. The Danish countryside is tranquil and the people friendlier than stereotypes of Scandinavians suggest. The country's coast is covered in sandy beaches that are warm and delightful in the summertime. Additionally, the Danes appreciate well-made and high-quality food, and your palate will certainly be delighted on your visit, especially if you try their breads, pastries, and fresh seafood. With the rank of 2 on our list, and with so many exciting cities and landscapes to explore, Denmark will not disappoint as your next queer travel destination. The champion, the emperor, the god, dare I say, of queer rights and securing the #1 spot for safe and exciting LGBTQ travel in 2024 is none other than Iceland. This European country, located in the North Atlantic, more than deserves its crown, as it has created one of the most accepting and prosperous societies the world has ever known. No country is perfect, but Iceland gets pretty close. With 92 points for queer rights, Iceland officially has the highest score in the category and by a margin of 5 points above the second place of Denmark. Marriage equality has been the law of the land since 2010, when it became the 9th country to give queer couples this very fundamental right. Transgender Icelanders have been able to legally change their gender since 2019 with no restrictions or medical interventions, and it is important to note that the anti-discrimination legislation in Iceland is truly world-leading in the most literal sense. If you thought Iceland could not get any better, you would be mistaken, as Iceland also takes the title of absolute safest and most peaceful country on Earth with a score of 100. Averaging out the two metrics gives us a combined score of 96, 3 points higher than our number 2 on the list. Iceland's capital city of Reykjavik is visibly LGBTQ friendly, on top of the fact that it has perhaps become the safest capital city on Earth more generally. Its mixture of hyper-modern and futuristic architecture with more traditional and quaint architecture means that Iceland's cities are a visual feast to say the least, and despite their famously low populations. Venturing outside of the city will quickly lead you to many of the most impressive natural landscapes found anywhere on Earth. Currently, there is even an active volcano that can be witnessed under supervision. Natural hot springs, like the world-renowned Blue Lagoon, dot the Icelandic countryside, some of which being just big enough for a single person to enjoy. Over-tourism in recent years has begun to become a concern, mostly due to the fears of nature degradation. So when exploring Iceland's truly singular beauty, remember to be respectful, to follow guidelines, and to treat the land as if it were your own family, with love and respect. The people of Iceland are lovely and welcoming, and combining its natural beauty with its best in the world scores for queer rights and general safety, Iceland is a destination that every queer person should have on their future travel list. Before we conclude today, I wanted to highlight some honorable mentions from countries that stand out in their respective regions for stellar levels of queer rights and freedom, despite not managing to make the top 10 list due to poor overall metrics in comparison to the countries here. While not making the list, I can recommend the following countries for queer travelers who want to expand their travel outside of the Western world while still being generally safe and accepted. These are Uruguay, Taiwan, Thailand, and Costa Rica. Also, props to Australia, Switzerland, Malta, and Luxembourg as the runners-up for having leading scores that placed them just slightly under the other countries on the list today. It was close for these 4, so keep them on your list. If you enjoyed today's video and learned anything of value, I would be honored if you would join our Queer Kingdom family as we seek to spread awareness about queer news and rights around the world. I would love to hear from you below what country or countries you were surprised did not make the list, and if there were any countries you were surprised that did make the list. Thank you for being here today and for being a part of this growing community. I know that together we can change the world for the better, one day at a time. Thank you again.